Maybe you've been here before. You wake up at 3 a.m. with your mind racing through conversations you had weeks ago, replaying mistakes, overanalyzing what you should have said or done. The harder you think, the further you drift from sleep, from peace, from any sense of change. This is the brutal truth of overthinking, and it's stealing your capacity to move forward in life. Some of the most brilliant therapeutic minds of the past century, from Aaron Beck to Susan Nolan Hoeksema, dedicated their careers to understanding why certain people get trapped in thought loops that make them suffer. Today, I'll show you the raw psychology behind overthinking and rumination. Stay with me, because at the end, I'll be giving you a simple 3-step overthinking solution that even your grandmother could do. Now, let's examine the first trap of overthinking. To many people, rumination feels productive. It masquerades as problem-solving or intelligent preparation. But research reveals something darker. It's a repetitive, intrusive pattern that eats up mental bandwidth without generating solutions. Unlike true problem-solving, which asks, "How can I fix this?" rumination asks, "Why is this happening to me?" over and over. Studies show that people who ruminate regularly are more likely to develop new depressive episodes and remain depressed longer, even when researchers account for other risk factors. Laboratory experiments confirm the link. When participants are instructed to ruminate, they generate more negative thoughts and perform worse on cognitive tasks. As it turns out, the loop itself creates the stress. Yet, what makes rumination so sticky is its transdiagnostic nature, meaning it applies across multiple diagnoses. For example, rumination can fuel depression, anxiety, trauma responses, eating disorders, insomnia, and substance use. The form of the diagnosis changes, but the process remains identical, i.e., repetitive negative thinking that feels impossible to disengage from. You might ruminate about failure, rejection, body image, or past trauma, but the mechanism underneath is the same stuck style of attention. Here's the feedback system that keeps it alive. Rumination locks your attention onto mood-based material. This means when you feel sad, your mind retrieves sad memories faster and interprets ambiguous situations negatively. That darkened perspective then colors your mood, which summons more negative thoughts. The loop reinforces itself. Over time, this becomes automatic, a mental habit triggered by mood, time of day, or specific places. However, the cruelest effect of rumination emerges in problem-solving experiments. Researchers find that people who ruminate generate fewer solutions to real-life problems and rate even their good solutions as less workable. Their confidence collapses. They delay or avoid taking action that would actually help, like making a phone call or starting a small task. As it turns out, all that mental activity produces paralysis. Plans remain locked in your head, endlessly revised, while opportunities pass by. Don't despair, you didn't choose this pattern. Many people learn rumination in over-controlling environments that teach passivity and self-focused helplessness. Moreover, certain socialization patterns nudge people toward emotion-focused, self-critical coping instead of action. Stressful life events like loss or humiliation can trigger an initial burst of overthinking that later becomes the default response. In short, your brain learned overthinking as a strategy to past situations, but now it no longer serves you. The good news is that rumination is modifiable. Cognitive therapy helps people identify the automatic thoughts fueling the loop. Thoughts like, "I can't handle this," or "I always mess things up." Once named, These thoughts can be tested against evidence and replaced with fairer appraisals. That shift frees attention and motivation for small corrective actions. Process-focused approaches train people to spot rumination cues early and interrupt the habit before it fully activates. What's the takeaway for this section? Changing how you think changes what you can do. This leads us to the concept of why the style of thinkings matters more than the content. Research shows that overthinkers get stuck in a particular mode of processing, abstract thinking. Instead of asking, "What's the next specific step here?" they float into detached questions like, "Why am I like this? What does this mean about me?" This distinction between abstract and concrete processing determines whether thinking generates action or paralysis, and creates the abstraction trap many overthinkers fall into. The abstract mode chases broad explanations that exist outside time, place, and actionable constraints, whereas the concrete mode drills into specifics. What can I do in the next 10 minutes, in this room, with these resources? Evidence consistently links abstract processing to worsened mood and functioning, while concrete processing correlates with better problem-solving and action. In short, shifting the mode changes the outcome, even when the topic remains identical. Furthermore, control theory offers insight into why rumination persists. Our minds continuously compare where I am to where I want to be. Normally, that comparison motivates adjustment, but rumination hijacks it, and the perceived gap keeps triggering abstract evaluation instead of guiding a plan. With repetition, the loop becomes a habit that fires even when the original goal has changed or become unreachable. In essence, you overthink but make no progress toward resolution. Moreover, metacognitive beliefs cement the cycle. Positive beliefs like, "If I think hard enough, I'll find the answer," invite more abstract analysis. Negative beliefs like, "My thoughts are dangerous and uncontrollable," add fear and suppression attempts that backfire. Then, the avoidance of discomfort, such as postponing decisions or sidestepping risks, brings short-term relief that reinforces the loop. Over time, your brain learns a simple equation: feel a gap, ruminate, then avoid. Aaron Beck's cognitive model illuminates how internal rules steer this trap. Rigid global rules like, "If it's not perfect, it's a failure," drain energy before action begins. Then, focusing on catastrophic outcomes amplifies the perceived risk of trying, so you choose not to. Furthermore, excessive self-monitoring. How am I doing now? What does this say about me? Increases anxiety and inhibition, encouraging more analysis and less doing. As a solution, making these rules explicit, testing them against reality, and replacing absolutes with contextual guidelines restores the capacity for action. The antidote for abstract overthinking is concreteness. Instead of why, ask how. Request a small, doable next step in a real setting, with a start time and a finish line. Break overwhelming goals into tiny actions that generate new information and challenge hopeless predictions. This stepwise approach shrinks the goal gap from both ends by changing the situation and by updating your appraisal of what's possible. Lastly, process-focused cognitive behavioral therapy helps shift this pattern. It views overthinking as a learned habit, something your brain does automatically when triggered. The therapy works by identifying what sets off your rumination, then teaching you new responses. As you practice these tiny steps, you build momentum. Each small win challenges the harsh beliefs you hold about yourself. But understanding the mechanism isn't enough if we don't see how overthinking actively creates new problems. Rumination doesn't just show that you're struggling. It creates new problems, each one feeding the others in a cycle that keeps spinning. First, overthinking changes how you see the world. When your mood drops, your mind pulls up negative memories more easily. Pessimistic thoughts start feeling like truth. You treat your worries as facts and imagine losses as if they've already happened. This makes everything feel more threatening and your options seem smaller. That darker view then gives you more reasons to ruminate, and the cycle deepens. Each loop makes the world look a little bleaker than before. Second, it degrades your ability to solve problems. Induced rumination leads people to generate fewer solutions and rate even good solutions as less workable. Confidence erodes, which delays action and reduces follow-through on steps that would genuinely help. The paradox cuts deep. The more you think about fixing something in the abstract, the less you do that actually fixes it. Third, rumination quietly kills the impulse to act, that ordinary do-something response that normally follows a setback. Instead of taking one small step forward, you rehearse failure in your mind. You replay unfairness until your energy drains away. Avoidance offers a moment of relief, and your brain learns the lesson. Stay in thought, not motion. Over days and weeks, this becomes a pattern that others might mistake for laziness. But it's not laziness. It's a learned response, a groove worn deep by repetition, a loop that runs on its own. Fourth, relationships suffer under the weight of repetitive thoughts. Seeking constant reassurance exhausts close loved ones, while you simultaneously withdraw because social experiences feel risky or pointless. This combination produces friction and isolation, causing more stress. Less support means fewer corrective experiences to counter negative beliefs, which keeps the loops running. Fifth, overthinking warps core self-beliefs. Automatic thoughts like, "I'm a burden" or "I always fail" sound increasingly convincing when repeated against a backdrop of low activity and few recent wins. These thoughts harden into rules and hopeless predictions that make giving up feel rational. Cognitive therapy targets that private logic, naming it, testing it, updating it, so emotion can follow new meanings rather than old patterns. Sixth, intense and seemingly inescapable feelings can drive risky coping behaviors. Some people reach for substances, binge purge cycles, or compulsive checking when rumination makes distress unbearable. The relief teaches your brain that avoidance works, which strengthens both the behavior and the overthinking that precedes it. What began as a mental habit expands into a broader pattern of dysfunction. Seventh, rumination can blunt treatment response unless addressed directly. People may understand skills in therapy sessions, but ruminate between appointments, which prevents practice and sours expectations about change. Approaches that explicitly target the loop, shifting to concrete steps, scheduling small actions, training attention redirection, and installing if-then plans at early cues, restore momentum. When the loop loosens, improvements spread to mood, behavior, and relationships simultaneously. The bottom line, overthinking feels like effort toward progress, but functions like mental quicksand. It amplifies what hurts, blocks what helps, and pushes away what heals. The exit isn't think harder. It's think differently, then do something small, a sequence that gradually trades paralysis for momentum and replaces endless loops with learning. Now let's look at the three-step process I promised you. For today's practical application, ancient wisdom meets contemporary neuroscience in a simple three-step framework. We call it ACE, and it stands for Acknowledge, Concretize, Engage. Each step interrupts a different part of the rumination cycle and helps you move out of overthinking. Step 1. Acknowledge the loop. When you catch yourself spiraling, label the process out loud. This is rumination. Don't argue with the content of your thoughts. Don't try to solve the problem in that moment. Just name the pattern and take one slow breath. That pause creates distance between you and the automatic habit. Step 2. Concretize your next move. Switch from why questions to how, what, when, where questions. Write one sentence. When, time or trigger. In place, I will. One action that takes 2 to 5 minutes. Examples: at 3 p.m. at my desk, I'll draft 3 sentences. Or, when the meeting ends, I'll text one person for help. The specificity matters. Vague intentions feed rumination. Concrete plans interrupt it. Step 3. Engage immediately. Start a short timer and do the tiny action now. When finished, write 2 lines. What happened? What's the next tiny step? If you didn't complete it, name the obstacle and shrink the step further. Close the loop by asking, how did this action serve who I want to be and what I want to achieve? Then take the next micro step or return to acknowledge if rumination resurfaces. This framework doesn't require you to feel motivated or confident. It works precisely because it bypasses those feelings and creates motion first. Evidence follows action, not the reverse. We hope it helps. You are not broken for overthinking things, but that pattern has overstayed its welcome. Now you have a map to find your way out, one small step at a time. The thoughts will still come. You are human after all. The difference is you'll know how to redirect before they take root. Change begins with awareness, my friend. Thank you for joining me on this exploration into the psychology of people who overthink everything. If this resonated, please share one small action you'll take today in the comments below, and subscribe to get weekly psychology content designed to help you transform your life. Until next time.